Good morning, Jaw. How you feel today? Do you feel like going to the beach? Huh? I hope so, because we are on our way to Panama City, Florida. Daze with Jordan the Lion and You begins now. Well, we're getting there. We're actually going to be starting the vlog at our hotel that John and I are staying at. Has some historical significance. So here we are at the Boardwalk Beach Resort. All right, we got our room and we got Jaw all comfortable and checked in. Now what I wanted to show you to start the day is actually right outside our door. Are you gonna be comfy in here hanging out while I do a little bit of vlogging here? Then we'll go out together after? You will? Okay, good. So on March 26th of 2001, the wrestling business changed forever, and it all happened right behind me on those beautiful beaches and those crystal blue, beautiful waters of Panama City Beach. You see, it was on that day that a long-running feud between WWE Raw and WCW Nitro would officially, well, it would officially end, because at the time WCW was, well, at one time, just a few years before this, they were one of the most watched shows on television. And just a couple of years later, with a few dried up ideas and a lot of bad decisions, WCW was sold. Now when Time Warner bought WCW originally off of Ted Turner was still allowed and in control of running the operations for WCW Wrestling, and because he loved it, it was a pet project. But once Time Warner sold to AOL, the new head of the Turner division was not a wrestling fan and did not want to broadcast wrestling any longer. So the man who was running WCW, the day-to-day operations, Eric Bischoff, he had kind of built the success of the company. He tried to put together a group to purchase the organization and was going to do it until he found out that the television time that they had always had been revoked from AOL. So he basically said the company, although it contained assets of their film archives from NWA and WCW World Championship Wrestling and some contracts of wrestlers and rings and things like that, without having a place to air the show, it was pretty much worthless. And so their last broadcast was right here on this beach. They set up right out there, the wrestling ring, and they said goodbye to WCW Wrestling. Now every year WCW would broadcast from Panama City because they like to do spring break. They had a good crowd and they would always do it here, but the very first episode of WCW Nitro we went and filmed in the Mall of America. That very first premiere, Sting wrestled Ric Flair, and on that night, the last night when Vince McMahon started WCW Nitro, saying that he had purchased the company, Ric Flair came out to the ring and said that he wanted to wrestle Sting again to go out, and that happened right out there. So that night nobody knew in the company what was going to happen. None of the wrestlers knew if they had a job or who was going to get a job, and throughout the whole show they were having a night of champions where everyone who was a title holder was having to defend their title, and that gave WWE, who had actually organized this whole night, it gave them a chance to put the titles in hands of people that they planned on working with in the future. And one of the reasons they loved to have this show here during spring break was because then they could broadcast, have the ring out on the beach, and people who were staying in the hotel could watch from their balconies and scream from the balconies. When it was all said and done, a company that was the biggest rival to WWE was actually sold for $4 million. Now they, in typical WWE fashion, they made this part of the storyline. So during the broadcast, when Vince is bragging about buying his competition and how he's not going to sign the papers until Ted Turner delivers the papers to him at WrestleMania, right there in the ring to humble him, then we have Shane McMahon walk out and say that Shane McMahon has actually bought the company and that he has already signed the papers. To me, it's just kind of cool to see that happened in 2001, all these years later, how they would have entered through here. They'd actually built the ring right out there. All right, now we're gonna hop in the car. I just, I wanted to stay here because of this being such a historical place for me, getting to see where WCW ended, but we're actually gonna go over to the Ripley's Believe It or Not here in Panama City now. Now I love the Ripley's Museum that I went to, and I say that singularly. Surprisingly, in the almost 6 years of vlogging, the only Ripley's that I've made it to was the one in Hollywood. Figured, why not check this one out? I love the crazy Believe It or Not stories, believe it or not. Check out the cool fountain over here by the propellers. I love the whole motif of this. It's like the sinking Titanic. Very cool. And then they have a 7D movie theater over here. We'll check it out. This boat looks like it has had better days. Check this out. This is showing the giant sequoia tree, California sequoia. Look how big that thing is. Okay, I am right about where this 550 is. That's where my head comes to. Maybe not. So my basketball reach, standing on my flat feet, that's got to be 10 feet tall. I'll let you math wizards figure out what that is in diameter. Welcome to the weird.
Weird stuff.
So I bought a ticket for the 7D movie theater and for the Odditorium. This way to the weird. That's not weird at all. As soon as we walk in, we have a Thor made of car parts. It's pretty cool. Based on the 1962 Marvel comic hero. Believe it or not, it's a wood-carved 1936 Fiat. You probably thought we were going to see one anyway, didn't you? This is the Cuban eye popper. Avelino Perez Matos of Barcelona, Cuba could dislocate his eyes out of their sockets at will. This whole thing, taking up the wall, is made out of color sugar. Like colorized sugar. Neat. I gotta admit, that is pretty cool. Here's John Lennon as Rhinestone art. Made out of 5,000 Czechoslovakian lead cut rhinestones. That's really cool. It says keep away from the heat up there because this is a portrait of Scarlett Johansson made out of dripped candle wax. Believe it or not. Here we have a motor oil portrait of Paul Walker. I'm not quite sure why they have it sitting in water, but they do. And over here we have Walter Hudson, the 1,400-pound man of New York, right here in the great old USA. After spending 27 years inside his bedroom, Hudson lost 600 pounds and opened a mail-order business selling clothes for extra-large women. When he died in 1991, he weighed 1,025 pounds. That's kind of inspiring. He lost some of it. Over here they're showing Willie Camper's hand, a giant from Memphis, measuring 8'5.5" tall. Could hold a dozen eggs unstacked in the palm of his hand. One of the tallest people to ever live. Oh boy. Not even close. Here's our founder, Robert Ripley, known as the most interesting man in the world, finding oddities in over 200 countries. Here he is posing for his bust. And they have the bust right here. Oh wow, these are tobacco sculptures. Bust of German dictator Adolf Hitler on the right, of course, and on the left, Robert Ripley. Here we have some crazy stuff. We have a pig hairball, the size of a football. We have Ripley's Believe It or Not Ghost Stories comic book, very early April 1969 edition. A cosmonaut space glove, and cannibal skulls. Everyone loves a four-horned geep. This is basically like, well, it's saying it's prison stuff. Humiliatory punishment. You can see they would have put that around the neck and hands. Ball and chain. Bridal collar. Yikes. Here's Grace Daniels. Ugliest woman in the world. There's Tycho Brahe, the astronomer with the golden nose. This is the Crocodile Man. Bobby Blackburn of South Africa wears dentures made of crocodile teeth. Here we have Circus Sideshow. Entertainer Thomas Wetters had the longest nose in history. Kind of looks like Gonzo from the Muppets. Wow, there's a three-legged boy. These are cool. These are chewing gum sculptures. There's Bob Marley over here. And then, looks like Elvis to me. And Charlie Chaplin. Over here we have the world's thinnest man, Edward Hagner. He was 5'7", never weighed more than 50 pounds. Circus performer. And here's Johnny Eck. He was born with a twin brother, and his torso ended where his hips should have started. He thought he wouldn't live past infancy. He became an honor student, artist, musician, composer, band leader, and movie actor. What a life. We all love animal oddities. Here's Smidget, world's smallest horse. That is not, I don't know if that's an appropriate word to name it, Smidget. Skulls locked in death. I mean, yeah, it looks like the horns are locked up there. It says, skulls locked in death. In a duel to the death, these mule deer both met the tragedy. They were found in Manzanita, Montana, and displayed at a California bar. Of course they were. Unicorn bird, and an 8-legged Siamese calf. It says all these metal items here were found inside of a cow's stomach. That little guy's supposed to be a miniature Chihuahua. He's real tiny. Genuine Siamese kitten. That's wacky. Siamese lamb. Two-headed fox. Two-headed duck. Here they have a lock of supposedly Marilyn Monroe's hair. They say it is anyway. Cluster of dinosaur eggs. Here they have a Gothic cathedral made out of matchsticks. This is Rodney Fox. Literally held together by his wetsuit. His exposed abdomen and damaged internal organs required 462 stitches. To this day, part of a shark tooth is embedded in his wrist. In 1963, he was spearfishing and was attacked by a shark, so that explains all that.
Laser sharp teeth have broken every rib in the left side on his chest and tore open his flesh, exposing a good portion of his internal organs.
And there his real injuries with the scarring and everything. Says this is a New Guinea shark god. Legend has it that revered sharks would rescue drowning children and tow them home on their dorsal fins. Whoa, that's easily 6 foot tall. Shark attack. Here's a replica of the largest pearl. You can see it compared to a pearl necklace. That's a man-eating clam. And it just wouldn't be a Ripley's without a Fiji mermaid. This one says, the world's greatest fake, this real mermaid traveling in the P.T. Barnum Circus earned 25 cents a head in 1842. As an old man, Barnum admitted it was just a monkey fused with a fish. As far as he knew, come on. Would P.T. Barnum lie to us? The man who quoted, "There's a sucker born every minute." Here's a wall-sized light bright of Jessica Simpson. That's really cool. That's John F. Kennedy made out of old computer keyboard keys.
For me, it's been a huge honor to perform all the Ripley's around the world, but one of my favorites is...
And here they have a couple of swords that have been swallowed. The famous sword swallowers. And then of course we have to have Vampire Woman, Maria Jose Cristerna over here, and Eric Sprague, known as Lizard Man. Stretched earlobes, dozens of body piercings, color contacts, fangs, horn implants, tons and tons of body art. It says tattoos cover 95% of her body, and then over here we have, oh, his tongue. He snaked his tongue. Forehead implants, you can see up there where the eyebrows are. Even tattooed the word freak on his chest. Tons of tattoos. Enlarged ear holes. And just when you think you've read it all, he has a grafted tail onto his spine. Now on to more normal things like jigsaw puzzle portrait of Elizabeth Taylor. Ooh, check this out. African nose flute. Weird. Here we have a Yoruba dance mask.
A vine from a tree was then
We have a tribal penis sheath. Worn as decoration and protection. Well, I don't think it's going to protect against everything, but human skin African mask. Ooh.
As shrinking began,
Blow darts. Oh my gosh. Nigerian padlock nose jewelry. It says the Derma chief, tribe chief, would padlock his queen's nose for gossiping. Keep that in mind, women. Tribe's women mistook it for ornamental decoration and adopted the padlock look in her honor. That's fashionable punishment. It says this is a genuine shrunken head, as well as these. I don't know. What do you think? Genuine? What do you think? Genuine? I don't know. I don't think so. I'm not buying it. Now that's a weird getup. It says Puberty ceremonial dress. Robert Ripley acquired this in New Guinea in 1932. This rare dance costume was worn during male puberty initiation rituals to hide their souls from evil spirits.
The taking.
Here we have an African executioner's sword and a Fiji Island cannibal fork. I've seen lots of those. And this is showing the lip disc wearers. Skulls. Says that is a primitive shaman bag. A cannibal skull case. Ancestor head. This guy's being tortured. Looks like. And then down here it says Kamala the Wolf Girl. And look at that giant mask up there. Oh man. Basically it looks like they've pierced the nipples, hanging him by his nipples or somewhere right around his chest, and then hanging skulls off the feet. There they're showing the first passenger elevator was designed by Louis XV, and it was basically a flying chair hanging out of Versailles that they would pull up with a rope. And this whole room is actually dedicated to the Titanic. People on the Titanic, photos from inside the Titanic, and some items from on the Titanic. Including here you can see cutlery and a napkin ring. Flagship of the White Star Line was one of the most luxurious ships ever to sail the 7 seas. The night it sank, its first class passengers ate a 6-course meal using forks just like this one, recovered as a memento of the doomed ship. 80 years later, when the shipwreck was discovered, various items were recovered. And that says that is a piece of coal from the Titanic. Here's a 4-foot scale replica of the Titanic made out of matchsticks. It's not saying whether this is an original watertight bulkhead door from the Titanic or not. It's just talking about how important the bulkhead doors were. And here's a model basically showing how it split in half and how they found it on the ocean floor. The sound of people drowning is something I cannot describe to you. It's a most dreadful sound. There's a dreadful silence that follows. The reason I say it's kind of cool is because they have an exhibit here talking about how cold the water is, or was for them, and you can actually stick your hand in and feel how cold the water would have been, because it's showing how long it took for hypothermia to set in at those temperatures. It was 28 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's do it. Ah! Woo! Yeah, there's no way. Yeah, you could barely last in that. That's insane. They have quite a lot on the Titanic here. That whole room going in there was all about the Titanic. This whole thing is. This room in here is about how the people were separated by class on the ship and how many people died because of that. And then over here is about the sinking and the captain. And then they have this exhibit. Small but fatal wounds, showing how the water would have started gushing in once it had been pierced. That's how it would have filled up. Holy cow, what did I just walk into? This is like a playland. There's stuff all over the place. Hanging from the ceiling. Freaking dinosaur back here. I may have to do that slide. Wow. Toothpick bust of Christ. Made out of 7,500 toothpicks. That is Lincoln made out of all bullets. These are all bullet heads. Abraham Lincoln rusted out on the hood of a Lincoln. Crayon portrait of Will Smith. Oh, that is way cool. Portrait of Jimi Hendrix made out of guitar picks. That one's also cool. That's Hendrix made out of a cassette tape. I'm not real sure what this is all about. They just keep going. Maybe they're racing, I don't know. Weird. Mona Lisa made out of jelly beans. Oh, hello. Wow. This is also pretty interesting. Is that a casket? It says this is Alypius, a dwarf of ancient Alexandria, Egypt, who was only 17 inches tall. Here we have a Japanese wedding kimono. And then once it rotates around, it's a Japanese samurai armor suit. That is a water buffalo armor. And then this kimono that's coming around was Robert Ripley's. When he first went to the Far East in 1923, he fell in love with everything Oriental, it said, and picked this up. Here we have the human unicorn. And then the lighthouse man. You can see he's got a candle on his head. Said he used to guide American military dignitaries through the streets of Chongqing. That is the size of this entire floor, like from floor to ceiling. It's a jade dragon boat. There you can see how big it is. And these Indian temple doors. Very nice. Oh, here we have the double-eyed man. 955 AD. Louie Chung was born with 2 pupils in each eye. He became the governor of Shanxi and minister of state of China. Look at those eyes. See if we can get it on camera. Creepy. 4 eyes. I was wondering why I kept hearing music notes. It's me. What? No way. Look, it's Robert Wadlow in modern clothes. 8'11" is what they're showing up there.
In 1939,
there you can see how tall Robert is compared to normal people. And that's when he was 18 years old. Right over here by Robert, they have a piece of the Berlin Wall. Pretty big chunk of it too. They had some great shirts, so I had to get one. I got the one with the eyeballs on it. I always like anything with eyeballs, so. Double pupil. You could even buy a shrunken head. All right, my friends, we're gonna call it a day. I wanna thank Pamela Phelan Betty Von Drasic and Christy Holly for making contributions to my channel. If this is your first time watching, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. We'll see you all next time. Have a great night and goodbye.